Hi everybody, I know you all enjoy my previous videos. Today I am going to discuss about current electricity, and please watch my video and don't download it. It's my request. And if you like my video, then please click the like button and please subscribe my channel. Let's watch the video. You know, electricity are two types: static electricity and current electricity. In a static electricity, charge cannot flow from one body to another body. In current electricity, charge flows from higher potential to lower potential. Okay? Electricity can carry by free electrons, free holes and free ions. You know, free electrons exist in metals, free holes exist in semiconductor, and free electrons also exist in semiconductor, and free ions exist in electrolytes materials like molten NaCl, etc., aqueous acid H2SO4, aqueous solution of HCl, etc. They can carry electricity and they move from higher potential to lower potential. The direction of flow of current is along the direction of flow of free holes and opposite to the direction of free electrons. That is, direction of current is opposite to the direction of flow of free electrons. Direction of flow of free electrons. To flow the current or electric current, there must be an EMF and potential difference. When other energies are converted into electric energy, then we can say that an EMF is generated. In an electric cell, chemical energy is converted into electric energy. Current electricity are mainly two types, DC and AC. DC means direct current and AC means alternating current. Electric cell produce direct current and AC generator produce alternating current. Electric cells are mainly three types: primary cell, secondary cell and standard cell. Electric cells are mainly three types, and simple voltaic cell, dry cell are the examples of primary cells. It is one time used. And secondary cells are lead acid accumulator, alkali accumulator, and alkali accumulator also known addition cell because Thomas Alva Edison discovered it. And standard cell. Example of standard cell is Western cadmium cell, and the EMF of a standard cell always remains constant. You know, the capacity of secondary cell is the total amount of charge flown by the cell from its total charge condition to the total discharge condition, and unit of it is ampere hour. When on a cell it is written that 60 ampere hour, it means that if the cell produces 1 ampere current, then it can gives the charge up to 60 hours. In a simple voltaic cell, there are two terminals. One is made of Cu and another is made of zinc. Cu electrodes like as a positive terminal and Zn place as negative terminal. Two electrodes are placed inside a aqueous solution of H2SO4. Due to the chemical reaction inside the cell, Cu got some H plus ions and zinc got some free electrons. When we join two electrodes, then free electrons flows from zinc to Cu plate. Therefore, current is produced, and due to the chemical reaction an EMF is produced in this cell. Then what is the definition of electromotive force? When a unit positive charge is brought from negative terminal to positive terminal, negative terminal to positive terminal against the force, then some work is done, and the amount of work done is known as electromotive force of this cell when this cell is in open circuit. Open circuit means that two electrodes are not connected by an external wire. This is known as open circuit. When these two electrodes are connected by an conducting wire, then free electrons moves from zinc plate to Cu plate and electric current flows from positive terminal to negative terminal. In this case, the potential difference between the two terminals is known as potential difference of this cell. Then what is the definition of potential difference? When a unit positive charge is brought from the negative terminal of a cell to its positive terminal, then amount of work done is known as potential difference of this cell. Potential difference known as potential difference of that cell when the cell is in closed circuit. Okay, therefore EMF is measured when the closed cell is in open circuit, and potential difference is measured when the cell is in closed circuit. You know, EMF of unit of EMF and potential difference are same, and it is known as volt. Okay. Then electric current. The amount of charge flows through a conductor per unit time is known as electric current, and therefore electric current I is equal to amount of charge Q flown by divided by time taken T, and unit of electric current is ampere. Unit of electric current is ampere. Therefore 1 coulomb is equal to 1 ampere into 1 second. Dimension of current, electric current, is I. Therefore dimension of charge is I into T. Next, deep velocity. You know, when an conductor is connected with a cell, then free electrons moves from negative terminal to positive terminal through the conducting wire. Then the average velocity of the free electrons is known as drift velocity. That is, when free electrons move from negative terminal to positive terminal through a conductor, then their average velocity is known as drift velocity. Let capital E be the electric field strength, and L be the length of a wire. Then potential difference between the two ends of the wire is V is equal to E into L. Okay, and let m be the small m be the mass of an electron. Let small m be the mass of an electron. Therefore, acceleration of the electron is A is equal to force by mass. Force is equal to charge of electron into electric field strength by mass. Let the initial velocity of electron is 0. Therefore, L is equal to half A lambda tau square, where tau is the time of relaxation. Therefore, L is equal to half minus half E electric field by M into tau square. Okay. Therefore, drift velocity V is equal to L by tau. This is equal to minus half small e capital E by M into tau. This is the final expression of drift velocity of an electron. Let small m be the number of free electrons free electrons in a wire capital A be the area of cross section of that wire. L be the length of the wire. I is the current flows through the wire. V be the drift velocity of electron. Therefore, amount of charge flows during time t is Q is equal to volume of the wire into charge of electron into number of electron density. Therefore, current I is equal to Q by T. Therefore, I is equal to AEN into L by T. Therefore, I is equal to AEN into V. This is the final expression of current, since we know V is equal to L by T. Current density J is equal to I by A. That is, amount of current flows normally through unit cross section. This gives J is equal to ENV, or that is current density is equal to amount of charge of electron into free electron density into tube velocity of an electron. Our next topic is Ohm's law. Let V be the potential difference between the two ends of a wire. Let V be the potential difference between two ends of a wire. Okay. I current flows through it. When, according to Ohm's law, when the temperature and other physical parameters of the wire remains constant, then, that is, when temperature, length, area of cross section and other physical quantities of the wire remain constant, then the potential difference is directly proportional to the flow of current. That is, V is proportional to I. This is known as Ohm's law. You know, when we introduce an equal sign replacing the proportional sign, then a constant is to be introduced. Therefore, V is equal to R into I, where R is a proportionality constant R is known as resistance of the wire. Unit of R is ohm. From the relation R is equal to V by I, we can write 1 ohm is equal to 1 volt by 1 ampere. Dimension of resistance is dimension of V by dimension of current. We know dimension of V is equal to M L2 T minus 3 I minus 1, and dimension of current is I. Therefore, we can write dimension of resistance R is equal to M L2 T minus 3 I minus 2. Therefore, we can write the resistance of a body is the virtue of it by which it opposes the flow of current through it. Conductance of a body is the virtue of it by which it allows the flow of current through it. Therefore, conductance is reciprocal of the resistance. That's why unit of conductance is ohm inverse or mho. This is the graph of Ohm's law. Along x-axis we plot the potential difference V, along y-axis we plot the current I, and you know the OX and OY axis are mutually perpendicular to each other. Since V is directly proportional to I, therefore the graph versus V and I is a straight line passing through the origin. Conductors are mainly two types, a ohmic conductor and non-ohmic conductor. The conductor which follows the Ohm's law strictly, then they are known as ohmic conductors, and the conductors which does not follow the Ohm's law, then they are known as semiconductor, non-ohmic conductors. An example of ohmic conductor is metal, and example of non-ohmic conductor is semiconductor, and etc. Laws of resistance. If R be the resistance of the wire, L be the length of the wire, capital A be the area of cross section of the wire, then at first R is directly proportional to it. That is, when the length of the wire increases, then resistance of the wire also increases. When area of cross section A and temperature remains T remains, or that is temperature of the wire remains constant. Second, R is directly proportional to 1 by A. That is, R is inversely proportional to the area of cross section of the wire. Resistance is inversely proportional. Resistance is inversely proportional to the area of cross section of the wire. Therefore, when we take a thick wire, then its resistance also decreases compared to the thin wire. When L and T remain constant, therefore R directly proportional to L by A. Therefore, R is equal to rho into L by A, where rho is a proportionality constant, is known as resistivity of the material of the wire, where rho is a constant known as resistivity of the material of the wire. Okay, in this case, temperature of the wire T remains constant. Therefore, we can define rho as, if L is equal to 1 meter, A is equal to 1 meter square, then rho is equal to R over A. Therefore, when we consider a unit cube which is made by metal, then and the length of each side of the cube is 1 meter, then the resistance between the two opposite walls of the cube is known as resistivity of that metal. We know rho is equal to RA by L. Therefore, unit of rho is ohm meter square by meter is equal to ohm meter. Conductivity is the reciprocal of resistivity. That is, conductivity sigma is equal to 1 by rho. Therefore, unit of sigma is mho per meter. This graph shows the variation of resistance with the variation of temperature. Let theta be the temperature of a wire in degree Celsius. R0 be the resistance of wire in 0 degree Celsius. R theta be the resistance of it in theta degree Celsius. Therefore, the relation between R theta and R0 is 1 plus R0 is equal, R theta is equal to R0 whole into 1 plus alpha theta plus beta theta square plus dot 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 dot. In simplified form, we can neglect the higher order of theta. This gives r theta approximately is equal to r0 1 plus alpha theta, where alpha is known as temperature coefficient of resistance. Temperature coefficient of resistance. Unit of alpha is per Kelvin or per degree Celsius or per degree Fahrenheit. For a metal, the value of alpha is positive, and for a semiconductor, the value of alpha is negative. For a metal, the value of alpha is positive. For a semiconductor, value of alpha is negative. Resistance of a wire also varies with light, pressure, and magnetic field. In case of selenium, due to the intensity of light, due to the intensity of light, the resistance changes. When the intensity of light increases, then the resistance of selenium decreases. When the pressure is increased on carbon dust, then its resistance also decreases. When the intensity of magnetic field increases, then the resistance of bismuth also increases. Today I am going to finish my discussion. In the next session I shall discuss about electrical energy, electric power, and Joule's heating effect. Till then, thank you for watching my video.